these two players.
Most certainly, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on ESET UK Whirlwind and spawning in the bottom right position as the purple Zergy player representing FM Esports, perpetrator of the 3 Roach Rush. We have none other than Shibbxyz. And his opponent spawning in the top left position as the blue Protoss player representing 6S Gaming, we have Dez. And this is the first time I've seen Dez with the 6S tag. I haven't actually... I wonder if that's a clan. Like, what other players they have on it.
I don't know, is the honest answer to that. It is the first time I've seen him with that tag, though. Now, Dez, he's getting a pylon up in the high ground, so this just means it's either a gateway expand or it's going to be a forge in base. Both are possible. To be honest, on Whirlwind, I don't actually mind going for, say, forge fast expansions or getting a quick nexus because the map is just so big you can definitely get away with it. So wait and see what's going to happen, but it looks like it's going to be a gateway expand coming down here from Dez.
Alright, so nothing out of the ordinary so far, and of course Shibbxyz, not looking like at the moment he wants to do anything drastic early game. We can see the spawning pool going down for him now, 15 pool. He will likely be following this up with a hatchery immediately thereafter as Dez goes for his 2 gases.
Now, this is where things all start looking very, very nice. And all in all, nothing too crazy going on. Shibbxyz just getting down his pool first, just as he should. He's going to go and take that hatch straight afterwards. So 15 pool, 16 hatch, the quintessential Zerg versus Protoss style. Shibbxyz, the only thing he needs to do different is, because it's not a forge fast expand, take a gas down nice and soon, get speed down at the very minimum, and then he should be fine. He doesn't need to rush out for third due to the fact that the natural for Dez is a bit delayed.
Yeah, that's right. If you scouted through and saw that in the natural that there was the Nexus already going down very, very early on, you know that that's a sign that your Protoss opponent isn't going to be attacking you very early on in the game. And that sort of gives you license, really, to go and take your own third base. But as Shibbxyz isn't 100% sure this is the case yet, he hasn't gone around to double check. And I have to wonder, the Overlord is going directly across the map, and Shibbxyz hasn't scouted anywhere else. Is the ESET version Force Cross on Whirlwind? Maybe Nick can let us know.
Maybe it is.
Because I do find only sending the Overlord cross map without any drones left or right to be slightly unusual. So yeah, it is Force Cross. Cool, thanks for that confirmation, Nick. And that's exactly why he's done this. He will spot the pylon going down, and Shibbxyz's going to see the Nexus only just gone down for Dez, and he's going to go, oh, aha, it's been taking a little while. And the presence of the Mothership Core is also going to confirm, oh, you need a gateway and a cybernetics core to get that up. I see what you've done there. It's a gateway expand. Doesn't need to go into the main to verify that's the case. The Overlord's just going to fly away.
Now, Dez is being very defensive. He's getting a sentry down here as his first unit after that Mothership Core. Not going to be able to be aggressive. His second sentry following that up. So actually, Shibbxyz needs to see that those sentries are there ideally so he can just really start taking some more risks, because there is pretty much zero chance that Dez is going to be pushing out really early on. He is getting 2 additional gateways, but unless I see a third and it's going to be delayed 4-gate, it's probably going to be some tech. But nope, delayed 4-gate is on its way, so there will be some 4-gate pressure, but none of that, say, 1 Zealot, 1 Stalker, 1 Mothership Core poking and prodding.
Yeah, exactly. So just a little bit of 4-gate pressure coming in here from Dez. A decent wall off as well. He's got a couple of sentries there, very, very secure at the ramp. And in the meantime, we see Shibbxyz. He's going to be going for his layer around the same time as Zergling Speed is about to finish.
Now, that is quite an early lair timing, actually, especially considering the fact that he doesn't have a Roach Warren down. And that in itself is quite an interesting way to run and play this matchup out. No third, just getting straight up to that, getting an additional 2 gases down. This could be very quick Hydralisks.
It could indeed, and of course, against a lot of Protoss sort of early game pushes, the Zergling Hydralisk composition has been known to be reasonably effective at holding off any sort of timing attacks in the early game off 2 base. But against this 4-gate pressure, it's going to be hitting a little bit sooner than, for example, waiting for a couple of Immortals to pop out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Dez can do with this.
Now the Mothership Core is poking and prodding around a little bit. Just going to take a little look here. Isn't going to be able to stop that creep tumor though. Could have done if it did decide just straight up to attack that. A Spine Crawler is on its way down here for Shibby. Is he going to be able to get this creep tumor? No, he doesn't quite. 2 HP remaining on that. There's the Hydrogen, just as expected. And there is the second extractor.
All right, 18 links now coming out from Shibby. He really wants to make sure he can defend against any early game aggression here, and that's going to turn out to be a decent choice against this mainly Sentry army, it has to be said. And that's going to mean that all of that force field energy is going to have to be used very early on in the engagement, and Dez won't have the follow-up required to really try and push in and do economic damage. He's going to fall back right now. He's going for all of the tech, Robotics Facility, Twilight Council, Forge, you name it, pick and choose, he's going to be able to get it all down.
Yeah, and this is just going to give him options in the mid-game, especially against this Hydra composition that is going to be coming out. The 2 Spine Crawlers are there, and what this all means is just that Dez, he's got to be a little bit careful. He did see the 2 Spine Crawlers there. That's probably what caused the retreat back instead of trying to move in there, which is always a good thing. Meanwhile, Shibby, he's got an Overlord running straight through, but doesn't unfortunately see all 3 tech structures. He just sees the Twilight Council and Robo, doesn't know about the Forge.
Yeah, hasn't been able to see any of that just yet. We have got a hallucinated Phoenix from Dez moving in to Shibby's main base. He's going to be able to see that the lair is complete, and well, just basically getting a good scout up on absolutely everything. Will he be able to see the 3rd base location? Yes, he will.
Yeah, he easily spots that. There's also an Overlord generating creep there, so he may actually choose to move over some of the static defense. There's a pylon getting made by the probe that's still out on the field. A Zealot getting caught in the middle of the map, but this is Shibby now putting on some pain. He doesn't have any upgrades in the mix in terms of weapons or armor, but does have the muscular augments upgrades for those Hydras, as well as the double evolution chamber on its way. So he is going to be transitioning into that. He's got the infestation bit, but he's going for a lovely little timing here. Force field wasn't on the mark, but the Zerglings deciding not to go in there for the moment. Apparently, Shibby getting a little bit of lag. I wasn't noticing anything there. So hopefully that will stabilize out. But of course, that pylon, that's coming down. And Shibby, I don't know if he can see that at the moment. Yes, he can. He does have vision of it.
All right, so he should be able to go in and pick apart that pylon there. I also really like what Dez is doing with this robotics bay as well. Against this Zergling Hydralist composition, of course, Colossi do an absolute number on that army. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Dez is able to get those Colossi out in time, and if Shibby can switch up his approach fast enough to defend against it.
Well, Shibby does have the 1-1 upgrades coming down, but the thing he's missing if he wants to deal with those Colossi-style plays is that he doesn't yet have a Rotoran down. He does have the Infestation Pit, which means that he has the option of going up to Hive very early on and getting Vipers. That's another way of dealing with that, but I'd still like to see the Rotoran and just a couple of Rotors on the field to tank up damage for the Hydralisks. But Shibby, there we go, Hive on its way down. Shibby just quick Vipers now.
Yep, he's looking like he's going to go straight up to Hive Tech, but again, quick Vipers when the bulk of your army is so susceptible to Colossi, I'm not sure is a great idea. Like you pointed out, skipping that Roach Warren could prove to be his undoing in the long run, but there we go, it's about halfway done now. So I think Shibby has recognized the holes in his army composition right there, as Dez moves out across the map to secure his 3rd base.
Additional gateways are getting taken here. We do as well have the Nexus, as you said, coming down here for Dez. Shibby just keeping quite a bit of map control, though. The Rotoran is on its way down now, so he will be adding that into the mix. Creep spread for Shibby, it could be a little bit further out, but he's busy taking a 4th base. Psionic Storm, though, that's on its way down now for Dez, and that's going to make him really get a composition that's designed for Hydra Ling killing.
Yeah, Dez is really focusing on the tech he requires here to completely annihilate Shibby's current army composition. Shibby needs to think about switching this up very soon to prevent a big engagement becoming a catastrophic one here, because combination of extended thermal lance and those psionic storms mean that the area of effect damage from Dez will just destroy everything that Shibby has to offer.
Yeah, and that of course is a bit of a problem, because that area of effect damage is going to be devastating, and Shibby currently doesn't have an answer to that. He's got road speed coming down, there's the Vipers coming out just as they should be, but as this Colossus count starts getting a bit higher, if it does, that could be where Shibby runs into some problems. But interestingly, Dez stopped Colossus production, just getting the 1 for the moment.
That is quite interesting indeed. I'm not sure why he'd want to do that. I guess maybe in response to anticipating Vipers, he wants to get one Colossus first, then maybe sends a scout out to see what his opponent's getting before deciding whether to commit to more. That could be quite a smart move. We can see the Collucidated Phoenix moving out towards the bottom of the map here. 15 roaches at a time being produced now from Shibbzy, and he has got a decent number of Vipers as well. So perhaps he's looking to embarrass those Vipers just a little bit by not giving them additional units to abduct. Don't forget, though, they can still use Blinding Cloud.
Yeah, this, of course, now a second Colossus just coming out. I flicked on the robotic facility just as the chrono boost went down and nothing bacon. I was like, But no, second Colossus is on its way. There's also the option to start warping in High Templar with Psionic Storm now completed. That's something that Des really should have been looking to do. He's got 5 down on the field at the moment, but a couple more wouldn't necessarily be a bad move for the Archons to switch into, and also the feedbacks onto those Vipers.
That's right. Feedbacks are going to be very, very useful because if you destroy the energy on those Vipers and they can no longer abduct, it means the Colossi can do the maximum amount of damage from afar. Shibbzy, though, he looks to be prepared for a Colossi-centric army, and he's going to be moving it across the map now. Does actually spot the... Ooh, very nice. Good feedback there initially. One of the Vipers. Another great storm. And wow, well, the Colossus getting pulled even as it was being taken down here. And some fantastic storms coming out from Des. I'm not sure this is necessarily going to be enough. Flank from both sides from Shibbzy is good positioning. Just not enough beef in this army to really take this down right now by the looks of things. Des down to 120 supply, Shibbzy down to 135. But I get the impression that our Protoss player should be able to hold this comfortably.
Yeah, that was Shibbzy moving in with just too few things. The Viper is going to try and get away, needs to try and keep that up, but no, he stops moving it, and that means the Stalkers could blink forward and go and take it out if they want to. There we go, does go down. That is a big loss for Shibbzy. He doesn't have any Vipers on the field, instead just getting out a couple more Roaches. He does have the Ultralisk Cavern done, he's getting Chitinous Plating.
Yeah.
But he's only currently got the 2-1 upgrades plus 2 Carapace still not completed, and of course it's missile attack, not melee attack done, so these Ultras are just really damage sinks.
Yeah, the Ultras are basically just going to be there to soak up damage while the rest of the army does that good work. I'd like to see a couple more Hydras come out of Shibbzy, on the grounds that if the Ultras are going to be soaking up the damage, you might as well get as much DPS as you can behind it. More Vipers being produced now as well. That's going to be very, very helpful in removing those Colossi from the army composition. But he now needs to focus, I think, on that DPS after this first couple of Ultras come out.
Yeah, the DPS is going to be essential, and he's actually committing quite heavily to these Ultralisks. 6 now in production. Shibbzy's going to have an awful lot of them. They will have Chitinous Plating and obviously the 2-2 upgrades, plus 1 melee getting research from this 3rd evolution chamber. But the Ultras alone aren't going to win this game for Shibbzy. He needs a couple of Infestors in the mix as well to try and get some good fungal growths down, lock down these Blink Stalkers, and then he's going to be in a nice spot. But luckily for him, because the Ultralisk Cavern hasn't yet been seen, Des hasn't started getting any Immortals.
And that's going to be pretty crucial, actually. Immortals, of course, doing a good amount of damage to those armored units. And if there are none in that composition, it means it's going to take ages to kill off these Colossi from him. So when they are not there and Shibbzy sees this, he's going to be pretty pleased. We can see Des moving on to creep now. Shibbzy just moving back a little bit, sort of trying to figure out exactly what the army composition is. He's flooding 40 Lings to see if he can't get maybe a good flank going down on this army. And it looks like he is preparing to engage.
Yeah, he's trying to get a complete surround, does get into a very nice position. Blinding Cloud is being utilised as well. A couple of storms going on the Ultras, not that effective. Another few storms on the Roaches. The Colossi, 1 falls, 2 falls. The 3rd one still up currently. The Ultras om-nomming their way through. The final Colossus does go down. Shibbzy now with a commanding supply lead. Needs to be careful not to overextend though, because yes, he's got a lot of units on the field, but the Ultras have now all fallen.
That's right, and more Lings and Roaches coming in now from Shibbzy to try and mop up. The Ultras have fallen, like you say, Metals, but they have done their job. They soaked up all the damage there, killed off a decent amount of Des's army, and now Shibbzy just feels like he's very, very comfortable. He's at 154 supply to 102, and I think this gives him free license to go ahead and pick off the 4th base.
Yeah, he scouted out with that single Zergling earlier on, so good map awareness from Shibbzy here. Gets the complete surround there, and is going to be able to take that out pretty much undeniable, stopping that going down. So the Colossus is coming back up, but already the Nexus falls, and this is Shibbzy just pulling back. He can retreat, wait for the Ultras to come in, and with only a single Colossus there, and still the 2 Vipers on the field, a couple of good abducts really could be bad news for Des.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, more Ultras on the way. Finally, we see some Immortals come out from Des, but I really think if there's only one or two of them there and Shibbxyz hits another timing, it could be quite difficult for him. Stuck on 3 bases, trying to retake his 4th base, but Shibbxyz in the meantime is going for his 5th. He's getting the adrenal glands upgrade. 3-3 finally coming down. That's the range, by the way, not the melee. And oh dear, a decent number of probes getting picked off as well at this 4th base location. The current working count is 71-52 in favor of our Zerg player, and Dez must be feeling like he's struggling a little bit here.
Yeah, he's just lost 27 workers this game. Shibbxyz is getting close to maxing back out again. He's got 3-3-2 upgrades on their way, plus those adrenal glands, as you said. He's got a very strong composition. He's taking his 5th and 6th base, plus pathogen glands coming down. Shibbxyz just getting everything that he could need. This Zergling finding the 3rd, trying to get taken to the bottom left. Shibbxyz just leaving a Zergling in each of these bases. Very nice. There's also a big push in to try and get into the natural base, but good Zeta Warpins will stop that from occurring, at least momentarily, until this Ultra decides to come and get in the mix.
Alright, and the Ultra deciding to get involved here, hugging those Zealots to death, and I'm afraid warping a couple more in isn't necessarily going to be that helpful here, but fortunately the Immortal absolutely is. More Lings now flooding in. Is it going to be enough to break these initial defenses? More Warpins of Zealots. Dez trying to hold on here. Shibbxyz has numbers on his side, but he's not being that cost effective. It looks like he will be able to get through those Zealots with about 10 Zerglings still alive, and he's heading straight into the main base.
Yeah, this is where the problem starts coming, because while this base isn't mining much of a gas, of course, all the production up here, another Photon Overcharge being triggered, but that leaves the natural about to run out of Photon Overcharge down there, so Shibbxyz could move back down if he wanted to, but choosing not to, just trying to attack a couple more pylons to take that out. But the Mothership Core and Photon Overcharge means that only a single pylon goes down, but Wave 2 now pushing in towards the natural. A lot of Ultras here for Shibbxyz, but the movement of Dez's army actually may block it all in here, and this is a big commitment from Shibbxyz.
That's right. The problem is how much damage has already been done. The Lings are still continuing to chase the probes here, and Shibbxyz still getting an awful lot of worker kills while these Ultras kind of stall for time, if you like. The rest of the army is out at the ramp waiting to see if Dez wants to come out to play. Shibbxyz only at 132 supply versus 110 right now, but these Ultras are absolutely going to town on the 3rd base. Will he be able to focus them down? I don't think so, given the army's coming back here. But he's certainly going to give it a go. He's actually no more shields left on the Nexus, but he's not focusing it down. Number of workers killed, guys, 59-0 in this game so far, and the worker supply is 71 to a mere 27.
But this army that's out on the field for Dez is still actually pretty scary. He's ahead by 6 army supply. That's fairly substantial. The Immortals are still up. The Archon is still up. Is Shibbxyz going to be able to hold this off? Well, with 10 Ultras on the field, probably. But still, even though Shibbxyz massively ahead in terms of the economy, he can't just afford to trade ridiculously cost ineffectively. He needs to kill this army off.
We need the supporting units. I want to see the Hydralisks, I want to see the Infestors, and neither of them appear to be making an appearance right now, which is really quite frustrating. The Ultra's now coming out, streaming through here, and looks like he's just going to try and take this army out as it comes out to see how far he can whittle it down. A lot of Ultras coming through, trying at best to kite is Dez. These Stalkers are taking an awful lot of damage right now. Decent Blink Micro and a couple of Storms coming down as well, trying to hold off at the ramp, but the number of Ultras getting greater and greater. Not the most cost-effective trade, but it's going to be enough. GG, and Shibbxyz wins game number 1.